When we interviewed Kenneth Copeland, we had some questions we wanted to ask him about his private jet use. He got really angry at me. He flirted with me. He tried a couple of different tactics. The job of a journalist is to hang in there and ask the questions. You can't control if they run away from you or what they say to you, but you can control your demeanor and you can control the questions. And that's what I did. I'm Lisa Guerrero, and today I'm unfiltered.
What I want to talk today about, there was one video that I did about Kenneth Copeland and his meeting with Lisa Guerrero from Inside Edition. And if you haven't seen it, I'll try to remember to put it below. It's a good one. There's something that really troubles me about this, and not just about him, but because what he did is not uncommon, even among other Christian leaders. And it's going to be leaders across the board, not just Christians, believe me. It's not just evangelicals, it's not just... But there is, especially in the charismatic movement, but scattered everywhere else too, divorce, affairs, stealing, deception, exaggeration, fake stories. What's going on? What I'm going to talk about today is Kenneth Copeland's flirting with Lisa Guerrero, openly, for Inside Edition. And I'm thinking, anybody with a ministry, they're shaming their ministry when they do this kind of behavior. I've been a missionary, I've been a pastor, and I've been a teacher. And I know that as leaders, we need to live and be above reproach. Now, we're not going to be sinless, okay? It's just not going to happen. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do stupid things. It's just normal. But there's certain ways we need to honor our ministry. We need to protect the gospel and not do anything that would shame the gospel. Paul took no money from a lot of people because he didn't want to shame the gospel. He did things for the sake to protect what the gospel was all about. Why? Lest people should talk bad about not just him, but about Christ because of what he's doing. I remember when I was in Africa, in the Congo, and I turned to some friends of mine. This is 1 week before Jimmy Swaggart had a fall. Well, was exposed. And I told my fellow missionary, and I knew a lot about Jimmy Swaggart. I had, not only that, I had several connections. My pastor that I really dearly appreciated from the Assemblies of God down in Hialeah, Florida, became the pastor of the church for Jimmy Swaggart. And I lived in Brussels, Belgium for a year learning French before I went to the Congo. And I was in a bookstore and I saw a book by Jimmy Swaggart called Fornication. And I knew that Jimmy Swaggart called Christian rock the fornication of gospel music. And so I'm putting this all together and I'm realizing he talks a lot about fornication. And so I talked to my friend and I say, you know, most of the times I find, it's something I was just discovering back then, but I still hold to it to this day. Most of the times I find that when somebody preaches a lot about one subject, they have a problem with it. For example, Ted Haggard preached against homosexuality. He was having an affair with homosexual prostitute. All right? So sometimes when somebody is fighting something, they'll talk a lot about it and say, it's bad, it's evil, don't do it. Yet they're the ones that are doing it. And so I was catching on to that. And I was saying, Jimmy Swaggart talks a lot about fornication, but I don't think he's got a problem. Why? Because I had two conflicting ideas hitting me at once. And the first one was, he preaches something a lot about, which tells me he's got an issue with it. The other thing was, He has a huge ministry. And I can't imagine somebody endangering and not treasuring that ministry. I just couldn't imagine it. And so when he came down 1 week later, I think my fairy tale understanding of the ministry kind of collapsed. Because the first part turned out to be right. I was sorely disappointed. And it's not that I really liked him. I never liked his preaching. But I don't know, I was just connected somehow because my pastor had gone there. There's a lot of ways we can hurt the ministry. And Kenneth Copeland really hurt his, even if he had a legitimate ministry, which I don't think he does. But even if he did, he really trashed his ministry in 2 ways that day. First of all, he flirted with her. It's real obvious when you see it. When he's not yelling at her and rebuking her for daring to go up into his financial stuff. That's none of your business. But flirting with her. And not only that, but the second thing. He told her she had beautiful eyes. I don't know where his world is. I don't think he really understands real people. But that is a pickup line. It might be true, but I'm not going to say to her face, dang, you're good looking. What's going to happen? What am I doing? Why would I do that? Sometimes we got to hold back some of those little emotions that shouldn't get out there. You know what I mean? There's no sin about having an emotion like that. Wow, she's very pretty. Okay, leave it. Where sin comes in, where it starts dwelling on it, and then you act on it, okay? And he kind of acted in areas that he should not have. All right. The final thing I want to mention about is I think what happens with a lot of people who really reach to the level that Kenneth Copeland has with popularity is everybody is kind of kissing up to you. Everybody is, oh, you're so special. You're so special. You're so special. And I think they begin to believe it. And maybe they're not saying it, but believe me, people are clamoring around because they want to get to know him. People are all around him just believing that everything he says is so godly. And that in itself can catch you off guard. That in itself can keep you from examining yourself, which the Bible says. Because you actually can start believing that you're a little special. Even if you don't believe it, it's still there. It's still in you. And I think there's a sense of entitlement that comes along with that. Those people who get pulled over by the cops and they'll say, don't you know who I am? And the cop might say, oh, I'm sorry. Or else they'll say, I don't care who you are. You're getting a ticket. But because there is a sense of entitlement that comes with being constantly told by others you're special. And maybe he got a little sloppy. But you can't do that in the ministry. You can't do that when you're a servant of the gospel. You guys, I really say this with all my heart. You're awesome. I really thank you for watching all of these. And have a great day.